Hey guys, welcome back to Small Doses of Insight. Alright bros, buckle up because we're diving deep into one of the most underrated yet complex characters in the K-drama universe, Park Sang Hoon from My Mister. Two of my first videos ever on this channel were about the main characters from this drama. However, Park Sang Hoon is probably by far the most interesting character for me. This 2018 drama is loaded with heavy themes like broken dreams, emotional survival, and of course, family. While most people are hooked on the tension between Lee Ji-an and Park Dong-hoon, the eldest brother Park Sang Hoon is an absolute goldmine of character depth. So let's break him down spoiler style and get into what makes this dude tick. Park Sang Hoon is the eldest of the three Park brothers, and he's the quintessential eldest son with too much weight on his shoulders character. You know the type. He's the guy who peaked too early in life and now spends his days reminiscing about when he had potential, wondering where it all went wrong. By the time we get to meet Sang Hoon, he's in his 40s, divorced, unemployed, and still living with his mom. Yeah, things aren't going great for him, but somehow despite all of that, he's still the glue that holds his family together. Sang Hoon isn't just a side character, he's a central piece to the puzzle that is the Park family. In typical eldest brother fashion, he feels responsible for his younger siblings, Park Dong-hoon and Park Ki-hoon, and even though he's got a laundry list of personal problems, he put his family first. This sense of duty, even when he's down and out, is what really defines Sang Hoon's character. Right off the bat, you can tell that Sang Hoon is a man whose life did not turn out the way he imagined. The guy had big dreams back in the day, but reality hit him like a freight train. At one point, he had a business, a wife, and the typical markers of success. But in My Mister, the first time we meet Sang Hoon, he's already at rock bottom. His business has failed, his wife has left him, and he's in debt. This isn't your typical K-drama hero. This is a guy who's past his prime, trying to make sense of the ruins of his life. Sang Hoon's character is a perfect representation of the failed dreamer archetype. He's still clinging to the idea that he can turn things around, but deep down he knows it's probably not happening. He throws himself into get-rich-quick schemes and half-baked business ideas, but they all inevitably fall apart. It's like he's chasing after this fantasy version of his life that's long gone. But here's the kicker. Even though he's struggling, he's never bitter. He doesn't wallow in self-pity. Instead, he just keeps going, because what else can you do? Sang Hoon is often seen as a comic relief in My Mister, but don't let that fool you. His character has way more depth than you'd imagine at first glance. Sure, he's the loud, goofy brother who makes questionable life choices and acts as a buffer when the tension between Dong-hoon and Ji-an gets too thick. But between that light-hearted exterior is a guy who's dealing with some serious existential crises. His humor is his defense mechanism. He's the type of guy who cracks jokes to keep the mood light, because if he didn't, the weight of his failures might just crush him. Sang Hoon uses humor as a way to deflect from his personal pain. He knows he's screwed up in many ways, but if he can keep everyone laughing, maybe they won't notice how much he's hurting inside. And bro, you gotta respect how he's not ashamed of who he is. Sang Hoon knows he's a mess, but he owns it. Whether it's drunken philosophy or pulling stunts to earn some quick cash, he's unapologetically himself. It's really refreshing. He's got zero pretensions about his situation. One of the central themes of My Mister is family, and Sang Hoon is the embodiment of that. Even though he's clearly struggling in his own life, he takes on the emotional burden of his family. He's the mediator, the peacemaker, the one who tries to keep the brothers and their mom from falling apart. That's a huge part of his character. He feels this immense responsibility to keep the family together, even though he's in no shape to do so. Take his relationship with Dong-hoon for example. Dong-hoon, the middle brother, is the successful one, the one who quote-unquote made it. But instead of resenting Dong-hoon for having a stable job and a family, Sang Hoon supports him. There's a scene where Sang Hoon straight up tells Dong-hoon that he envies him, but not in a malicious way. It's more like he's proud of his younger brother for achieving what he couldn't. That's big bro stuff, admitting envy without letting it turn into jealousy or bitterness. And then there's Ki-hoon, the youngest brother who's still chasing his own dreams of being a film director. Sang Hoon could easily dismiss Ki-hoon's ambitions as unrealistic, given his own failed ventures, but he doesn't. Instead, he encourages him. In some ways, Sang Hoon lives vicariously through Ki-hoon's pursuit of success, hoping at least one of them can break free from the cycle of failure. We can't talk about Sang Hoon without addressing his divorce. His ex-wife left him because of his financial instability and inability to provide. It's clear that this broke him in ways that go beyond the surface. The guy genuinely loved her, and losing that relationship hits him harder than he lets on. What's fascinating is that even though he's divorced, Sang Hoon isn't bitter towards her. He's not one of those stereotypical angry ex-husband characters. Instead, he seems to understand why she left. There's a scene where he drunkenly admits that she deserves better, and it's heartbreaking. He knows he couldn't give her the life she wanted, and in a way, he's accepted it. But here's the thing, Sang Hoon still holds out hope. There's this lingering desire for reconciliation that makes you root for him, even though deep down you know it's probably not gonna happen. He's stuck between acceptance and denial, and that tension is what makes his character so relatable. Who hasn't been in that place, right? Wanting something you know you probably can't have, but still holding on, just in case, right? The relationship between the Park brothers is one of the most compelling aspects of My Mister. They're all flawed, but they all love each other fiercely. Sang Hoon, being the eldest, often plays the role of the pseudo-father figure even though he's the least stable out of the three. He feels this duty to look after Dong Hoon and Ki Hoon even when it's clear that they're doing way better than him in life. Sang Hoon's relationship with Dong Hoon is particularly interesting. Dong Hoon is the stoic, reliable middle brother, and Sang Hoon is the emotional, reckless eldest. They're polar opposites in a lot of ways, but there's a deep bond between them. Sang Hoon often tries to lighten Dong Hoon's burdens, even though he's struggling himself. It's like he's trying to pay back Dong Hoon for all the times his younger brother has bailed him out, whether financially or emotionally. And then there's Ki Hoon, the youngest. Sang Hoon is both a mentor and a fellow dreamer to him. He encourages Ki Hoon's filmmaking dreams, despite knowing firsthand how brutal the world can be to people with big ambitions. In a way, Sang Hoon is projecting his own failed dreams onto Ki Hoon, hoping at least one of them can succeed. But instead of being bitter about it, Sang Hoon supports him because that's who he is, a guy who wants the best for his brothers, even if he can't have it for himself. For all his failings, Sang Hoon is surprisingly wise. He may not have a job, a wife, or much money, but he's got life experience in spades. He's been through the ringer, and that's given him a unique perspective on life. His conversations are often laced with nuggets of wisdom, even if they're delivered in his usual lighthearted, jokey way. One of his standout moments is when he talks to Dong Hoon about life and happiness. He essentially says that happiness isn't about having a lot. It's about finding the joy in the small things. That's a reoccurring theme in My Mister, and Sang Hoon embodies it. He knows he'll probably never be rich or successful, but he's learned to find contentment in the little things, like hanging out with his brothers, having a drink, or sharing a meal with his mom. It's a simple, almost Buddhist approach to life, and it's one of the reasons why, despite all of his flaws, you can't help but love the guy. If we're being real, Sang Hoon is the emotional heart of My Mister. He's the guy who brings warmth to a show that's otherwise filled with emotional pain and suffering. Every time he's on screen, there's a sense of humanity and empathy that balances out the heavier moments. He's flawed, he's broken, but he's real, and that's what makes him a standout character. Sang Hoon's journey is one of quiet resilience. He doesn't have a dramatic arc like some of the other characters, but that's what makes him so relatable. Life doesn't always give you neat, tied-up endings. Sometimes you just keep going, doing the best you can with what you got. And that's Sang Hoon in a nutshell, a guy who's still trying even when the world keeps knocking him down. Alright bro, so let's get real for a second. Watching Park Sang Hoon in My Mister hit me on a whole nother level because if we're being honest, who hasn't felt like Sang Hoon at some point in life? That dude represents all the moments when life doesn't go as planned, when things don't pan out the way you thought they would, but you keep pushing forward because, well, what else can you do? I think what really got to me was the way Sang Hoon carries his failures. Like, this guy has lost a lot. His marriage, his business, and any sense of financial stability, but he doesn't wallow in it. He doesn't let it define him. Sure, he feels it, but instead of being bitter, he tries to make the best out of the worst situations, and that's something that really resonated with me because, let's face it, life throws curveballs at all of us. Maybe it's not as dramatic as losing a business or getting divorced, but we've all been in that place where things just don't turn out the way we'd imagine. Personally, I've had my own moments where I felt like I was stuck in a loop of almost making it, but not quite getting there. You know, where you're grinding but nothing's clicking and you start questioning what you're even doing? Sang Hoon's whole vibe, how he's constantly hustling, trying to figure out a way how to make things work, even when it feels like everything is falling apart, is relatable as hell. But what's cool about Sang Hoon is his ability to find small moments of joy. even in his mess of a life. It's a reminder that happiness isn't some big, grand thing you chase after, it's in the everyday stuff. Watching him, I realized that even when things aren't going perfectly, there's still a lot to be grateful for. I mean, how many times have we all been so focused on what's not going right that we forget the good things we've got going on? And let's talk about the whole family dynamic, because that hit hard too. I'm also the oldest in my family, and yeah, there's this unspoken pressure to have your life together so you can look out for everyone else. But like Sang Hoon, sometimes you're just figuring things out for yourself. It's this weird balance of wanting to be responsible but also dealing with your own mess. And the way he just rolls with it, doing what he can for his brothers while trying to hold himself together, it's both comforting and kind of inspiring. He's not perfect, but he's real, and that's something I can respect. In the end, watching Sang Hoon reminded me that life isn't always just about success or having everything figured out. Sometimes it's just about showing up, doing the best you can, and being there for the people you care about. You're gonna stumble, you're gonna fall, but if you can laugh through the tough times and keep grinding, that's where real strength comes from. So yeah man, I think we've all got a little Sang Hoon in us, just trying to find our way, one messed up day at a time, and hoping it all works out in the end. Thanks everyone for watching this video. If you enjoyed what you saw, please don't forget to like the video and subscribe for more content like this. Also be sure to check out my other videos for more insight on other dramas and shows. Your support means a lot to me and it helps me grow this channel. If you have any thoughts, questions, or suggestions for future videos, please drop them in the comments down below. Again, thank you for watching this video and I'll see you next time.